Hi friends, on behalf of 9th SEM, I welcome you all. This is Manish Patnaik, subject matter expert in 9th SEM. So till the previous session, we have completed discussing about RS-232 standard specification. So now let's start discussing about the practical implementation of RS-232. Before getting into the practical implementation, one should know how actually this RS-232 communication works. In RS-232, the data is transmitted serially in one direction over a single data line. In order to establish two-way communication, we need at least three ways, that is RX, TX and ground, which is receive, transmit and ground that we have already covered in the previous session, apart from the control signals. A byte of data can be transmitted at any time provided the previous byte has already been transmitted. Okay, I think this sounds little bit confusing, that what is this byte, how the data is transmitted. It will be more clear once we continue with this session and for the more coming session. So basically RS-232 follows an asynchronous communication protocol where there is no clock signal to synchronize the transmitter and receiver. Hence it uses a start and stop bits to inform the receiver when to check for data and when to get the data. There is a delay of certain time between the transmissions of each bit. This delay is nothing but an inactive state. Remember, the signal is set to logic 1 when it is inactive, that is -12 volt, and it is it is in an active state when it is logic 0, which is +12 volt. If you are still confused between what is -12 volt and what is +12 volt, please refer to the electrical specifications, where we have discussed what is logic 1 state, what is logic 0 state. In short, if I want to say the working of RS-232, then it can be understood by a term known as protocol format. As RS-232 is a point-to-point asynchronous communication protocol, it sends data in a single direction. Here no clock is required for synchronizing the transmitter and the receiver. The data format is initiated with a start bit followed by 7-bit binary data, a parity bit and a stop bit, which are sent one after the another. So first the transmitter, that is DTE, sends a start bit to the receiver, which is a DCE. So the DCE will need to inform if the data transmission starts from the next bit. The start bit is always 0, that is +12 volt, and the next 5 to 9 characters are data bits. If parity bit is used, a maximum of 8 bits can be transmitted. If parity bit isn't used, then 9 data bits can be transmitted. After the data is transmitted, the transmitter sends the stop bits. It can be either 1 bit or 1.5 bit, or we can say a 2 bits long. I know it sounds really very confusing, so let me give you a clear idea by the following image. This image shows the frame format of the RS-232 protocol. If we can see, it is like a start bit 0 is there, then a data bit which is 8 bits are present starting from B0 to B7, then a parity bit which is written in P, then 2 stop bits are present, that is S1 and S2, and at the end the parameter which we can say it will be either 0 or either 1. So the transmission begins by sending a start bit 0. This is succeeded by 7 bits of ASCII data. ASCII data means that all that data bits from B0 to B7. Then the parity bit is appended to this data for the receiver validation. The data sent from the transmitter should match at the receiver. So finally the transmitter is halted using a stop bit, and it is represented by the binary 1. Generally 1 or 2 stop bits can be sent. In the diagram, ASCII character, that is data bits, which I have already said you, is sent using a serial binary stream of ones and zeros. While sending data, there should be a certain delay between each bit. This delay is considered as an inactive time, and the RS-232 line is at the negative logic state, which is -12 volt. So furthermore, if having any doubt regarding the session, feel free to ask in the comment section. Signing off, have a nice day.